Hi there. So today I'll share how to set up an avatar. So let's go. So first things first, we want to bring in the avatar. For this, I'll be using the desktop view, and I'll show you what I'm doing by enabling the capture device here. So I'm in a folder here that is Raccoon version 1.5 inside of my downloads folder. So what I'm going to be doing is I'll simply go into the model folder, and then what you can do is either copy that file and then go to your home tab or press Control V and paste content from clipboard. And then you'll have this little menu here, the import models menu. However, and the reason why I haven't disabled this little overlay yet here is because what you can also do is you can simply drag and drop the file onto your Resonite window, and that's going to bring in the exact same window. Now I'll disable this overlay for a sec here to just show you the input window. You'll generally do 3D model, regular avatar, auto humanoid height for any bipedal avatar generally, unless you know the exact proportions here for the unit scales. Usually just auto humanoid height. Then we can go to advanced settings. And here, the only thing you really need to deal with on here is if you're using a toon material in other applications or your avatar is supposed to have a toon material, you can go once, twice, thrice to the left, and you're on Zizi toon. This is our current toon material as of this date. However, if your avatar is using a realistic material, such as, for example, my avatar here, where I have metal and stuff on it, you would be using PBS. Now, if your avatar is using metallic parts and is supposed to be a lot more realistically lit, I suggest you keep it by default onto PBS without specular. But if your avatar uses specular or just doesn't use a metallic map or doesn't have any metallic pieces and just has flash and is supposed to be more color accurate to the texture, I suggest enabling prefer specular. I'll be showing you it with prefer specular enabled. So then we go to run import, which will bring in the avatar here eventually. And there we go. Now, one thing is that what we currently imported is a .sbx file. Now, .sbx is a proprietary format by Autodesk. Now, since it's proprietary, we don't really have an open specification about it, so it's a lot harder to make support for it. What I suggest you do, if you can, is export your models as .glb or .gltf. This is an open format specification that is more properly implemented into Resonite, and it will usually be able to set up both your albute colors here, so your text are already on there, any emissive colors, as well as normal maps. Those it will be usually able to do automatically. Now, if we don't have our textures in here, what we need to do is simply, once again, enable our little view here of the files. Go one back up, go into textures. Let's say raccoon, because we want to set up the raccoon, and let's just get the body. So let's just select all of these and either copy or drag them into the application, just like before. Let me disable the overlay. And now you get the batch import here, where you can simply say image texture. And it'll slowly bring in one after another. And there we go. Now, here we have a body albedo, a normal map, which looks like this, and this here, which is a metallic smoothness map. Now, this body does have a metallic smoothness map, but since we're using the specular flow right now, we're not going to be using this one. This would go into the metallic smoothness slot. Now, we will go into the root of the avatar and go to centered roots, root node, and we'll select the body. Now, once you're in here, if you want to change any of these pictures, you just go to the material you want to change. When you first bring it in, these will all be named after what the material is called. We can just click this little arrow up here next to the arc arrow up, they'll pop up this little window here, which is the material inspector. We can then just grab onto the texture, and then we can do three things. We can either click with our other hand onto it, or push the texture through it and click with the same hand, or we could even click copy image in our context menu, and then on here, click the little icon to the right, which is the paste button, which should automatically bring it onto there as well. All right, so now that you have your texture on here, you're good to go. I will ignore the fact that there's other textures missing currently, because I think you can figure out that an emissive texture that you have here, like emissive map, goes into the emissive map slot, and you probably want to set the emissive color to white or to a color if your emissive map is just black and white by default. The normal map obviously goes into the normal map slot. This will also automatically change it over to use the correct encoding for normal maps. And down here we have the specular color. Now, the reason why I prefer specular materials usually for things like bodies like this is because specular is a little bit more lenient on the realistic side of things. So we can actually set the specular color to 000, which will get rid of this kind of a white sheen that you normally have around metallic objects, which personally I prefer. Now, this is entirely my own preference. If you prefer looking a little bit more washed out, you can absolutely go for metallic or just have a different specular color. But I personally like to retain the accuracy of the color to the actual texture, which is why I do it this way. Now, when you look at the materials, you also need to make sure that the albedo color is set to 111. Otherwise, it's also going to be a little bit darker. But as you can see now, we have essentially the same colors, just realistically lit as on the texture. Now, to actually set up the avatar, we can then go to our Home tab. And on here, we can open the Avatar Creator. Now, once we open up the Avatar Creator, we can then grab this headset here. And if we just want to get it roughly right, so it just works, we can just scale this, slap it onto the head like this, click align, 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 center, and align. You'll see that the hands are a little bit offset, so you manually fix that just by rotating it like this. Or if you want to be a little bit more delicate about it, what you could also do is select the hand here, specifically the hand of that visual. Go to Open Inspector, go all the way to the top, and then you could move the headset just by using these visuals here to get a little bit more precision. Or you could also move the hand and also rotate it using the gizmos. But we're just going to quickly set it up like this, freehand. Now we'll show tool anchors, which will show you free visuals. So make sure to never move this. I'm going to keep setting it up, but usually if you move it, I suggest you just start over, which is why you should do the setup avatar process first. Now, these free visuals are the grab sphere. Now, the grab sphere, as it implies, is a sphere that generally you place on your palm, and that's where you will be physically grabbing objects from. So this goes down here onto our palm. Perfect. Then this here is a tool shelf. It allows us to put tools onto it. Usually people put that onto the top of the wrist. Oh. And then here we have a tool anchor. So when I equip a tool, this is where it actually snaps to. So usually I suggest putting that onto the tip of the index finger like this, or slightly clipping into the index finger like that. Now we can simply hit set a volume meter and set a face tracking, which will make sure that if we do have face tracking blend shapes, they're set up for the face tracking by default. And then we just click create. And now we have the avatar. As you can see, if I move it around, it can move its legs and everything. And if we go back here to the mirror, I can just click onto the avatar and click Equip Avatar. And now I'm no longer a protogen. I'm just some raccoon. Oh no. Now, once you have this set up, what you have to make sure to do is save the avatar. Always save the avatar. The moment you set it up, once you're done setting it up, just save the avatar. Doesn't matter if there's still work to be done, just save a quick copy of the avatar. It's going to save you so much time. You are going to eventually run into an issue where, for whatever reason, your avatar, you're going to forget to save it, going to leave the game, go to a different world, or just close the game and just lose your progress. Always save. It is always vital to save. Trust me, this is from experience of a lot of pain and a lot of hours lost. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. We have a fully set up avatar now. Now, obviously, this is not ideal because I still have some textures that aren't set up. However, if you want to see this avatar how it would look like fully set up, you can see it over here. It is pretty much fully set up. I put some very basic solid colored materials on both the top and the bottom clothing. All right, let's get out of this raccoon. All right, so I hope this video was informational. If you have any questions about avatar setup, you can ask them down below and I will respond to you or also make a follow-up video. Usually, I'll try to do both just so it's also there for everyone to see. But yeah, I hope this helps. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.